Benjamin Franklin apparently said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." As an educator, we have to acknowledge that teaching is a highly complex skill. It involves deep understanding of a subject matter and the ability to explain complex issues in simple ways. One of the imperative subjects in school is science subject. It gives students the opportunity to gain a better knowledge of how and why things function. However, based on the 2018 results in Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA, Philippines has a high percentage of low performance in science. Similar results arise in the local of the study. Around 35% of the grade 4 learners were shown low performance in science. If the phenomenon is not treated, these low-performing learners would find difficulty coping to higher grade level. To address the learning gap in science, the researcher presents QuizMe game application. It is a researcher-made application game for smartphones and other Android gadgets. Gamification in education means that educators apply game design elements to an educational setting. The application of gamified design in teaching can make learning more interesting, make pupils more active in learning, and make teachers more initiative in teaching learning process. This application is specifically made by the researcher himself to address primarily the learning gap of identified grade 4 learners in an exciting and engaging way. The goal is to maximize enjoyment by capturing the interest of learners and inspiring them to continue learning without being forced to get their attention. The contents of the QuizMe game application are aligned in the most essential learning competencies and least learned skills of grade 4 science in 4th grading period for school year 2022-2023. QuizMe is an offline science trivia game app which is in the form of word-picture associations. It tests the learners to analyze the picture, phrases, or sentences shown in order to come up to a correct answer. It has a selection of jumbled letters below the screen. Player chooses and rearranges the letters correctly in order to arrive to a correct answer. The following elements of the game are also considered. Level. The player will guess the correct answer in order to proceed to the next level. There are 3 major lessons integrated in the game, based on the least learned skills: Level 1 to 15 about the soil, Level 16 to 30 about the water cycle, and Level 31 to 45 about the weather. For Level 46 to Level 150, trivia questions are randomly repeated based from Level 1 to 45, so that the learners can master all the lessons very well. Coins. The player can gain 15 coins in every correct level answered. These coins can be used to reveal answer gradually by using a hint or clue. It is located below the word picture trivia question. There are 3 different hints that can be used. First hint. The first letter of the answer will reveal. It will cost 15 coins to be deducted to the player's total coins earned. Second hint. It will delete all the unnecessary jumbled letters. Fewer letters left make the player easy to guess the right answer. It will cost another 15 coins deducted to the player's total coins earned. The third hint. It will cost 30 coins. Complete answer will be revealed if you use a third hint. The goal of this game is to gain plenty of coins, which minimizes of using a hint, so that the player can get a reward from their teacher depending on their agreement. Here's the flow of the intervention. After the approval of the letter from the division office, the researcher made an agreement between the identified participants' parents and the researcher himself. Parents signed the parents' consent form and agreed that the participants were used for the conduct of the study. Then participants were gathered inside the school to be oriented by the researcher regarding of the flow of the implementation. Participants were given pre-test before the conduct of the intervention. After the pre-test, selected participants were exposed to the intervention using the QuizMe game application. There were 29 selected participants in grade 4 who were identified based on their 4th quarter grade of school year 2022-2023. Those learners who obtained a grade ranges from 75 to 79. These pupils are considered fairly satisfactory in their progress report card. These pupils were needed to get an intervention so that they will not find difficulty coping to a higher grade level. The intervention took 10 days to complete its implementation. To start the learning intervention, participants should have Android gadget to use during the entire intervention. Out of 29 participants, 17 of them have their own smartphones. Some of these are borrowed from their siblings and other relatives, while the remaining 12 participants borrowed from the school's Android tablet. All of these Android devices used are installed with the QuizMe mobile application. To guide and monitor the progress of the participants while using the app, the researcher made a QuizMe Learner's Achievement Sheet. These were used by the player from day 1 until day 10 to track his or her progress while using the app. Learner's Achievement Sheet was composed of 15 levels to answer every day. In every successful answer, the player writes it in the Learner's Achievement Sheet before proceeding to the next level. Since the game is in a form of levels, the player needs to guess the answer correctly in order to proceed to the next level, or else he or she will freeze in the same level. A guided practice was given by the researcher to the players using a pairing method for the first 3 days. They chose their pairs so that they can share ideas on how to answer the trivia questions. Day 1 was composed of lessons which are related to soil, Day 2 about the water cycle, and Day 3 about the weather. During the 4th day until 10th day, players were doing an independent task of answering the trivia questions alone. During these days, questions from Day 1 to Day 3 were repeated randomly in Day 4 to 10. During this time, player can master all the questions very well since trivia questions were already answered during the guided practice. After 10 days of implementation, a post-test were given to same pupils. The same set of questions were given to them in order to check if how far they have learned from the intervention. The results of the post-test will be compared and analyzed to determine the level of performance between pre-test and post-test.